We're here. All right. G'day, everyone. Good morning, and welcome to the Arisen Podcast, Episode 3. I'm coming to you all the way from Australia. My name is Modangy. The other host of this fine podcast is three-time, back-to-back Orna Content Creator of the Year, the sexiest man in Scotland. His name is Shabbash. Shabbash, how are you, mate?
Afternoon or good evening, Dangy. I'm very well, thanks. It's bright and sunny over here for, I think, the first time ever live on this podcast. Back to back. That's what we're doing. No, very good. Had a bit of a raiding session yesterday. Kind of failed, but maybe we'll come on to that at another time. Otherwise, feeling pretty good. And yeah.
Nice. Good to hear. And we've also got our distinguished guest today is Mr. Flux TV. How are you, Flux?
Hello. Good. Been an early morning.
Yeah, nice and early for you, yeah?
Yeah. Nice and early, 8 a.m.
This is like
8 a.m. And can you show us the drink? The drink of choice to keep you awake this morning?
Oh,
Monster.
Jesus Christ. We're not sponsored by
I can
Monster
appreciate and empathise.
Nice energy drink.
If we
Start the day.
If we had an energy drink tier list, I don't think Monster would rank too highly for me, if I'm honest. I
No.
think Red Bull and V are up there, but Monster, not too sure.
I've never had one. Monster.
That's
They're all
possibly
right.
because you'd only drink. They're all right.
Not the
Well,
best.
Shabbash would only be drinking Iron Brew, wouldn't you, Shabbash?
That's the one. Bottle a day. Bottle a day keeps the
Alrighty,
doctor
well,
away, right?
Sorry, my thing's dropping a little bit, so apologies if I jump over the top. Shut me up and mute me if you need to, Shabbash. In the interest of getting through this podcast in a little bit of a quicker fashion, shall we tear straight into our topics?
Great idea.
All right. So, Flux, if you've watched a couple of our the two podcasts that we've had, not a couple of our podcasts, the podcasts that we've had before, we've sort of been kicking it off by getting somebody or a couple of people in the first instance to run through how they got into Orna and what they enjoy about the game. So, gave you a little bit of a prep. If you're keen to run us through that, that'd be awesome. Introduce the community to Flux.
So, my friend sent me a message on Discord back in September. Like, hey, I found this really cool game. You should try it. And so I looked at it. I'm like, oh, it's a GPS game. I played Pokemon Go. It's pretty fun. I downloaded it, got to level 10, joined his kingdom, and then we played for a while till, I want to say halfway through October, he started to not really play. And I was like level 170 something. So I was looking for a new kingdom to join. And at the time, I think OBOT was at like number 2.
Ornate burrito
And-
caterers,
Yep. And so I talked to Napalm. Talked to him, asked if there was room or which one to join. Ended up joining Relaxed Ornate Burrito of Taters for a bit. Hit tier 9, switched over to OBOT. And I've been there since January 4th.
Nice. So you joined Robot first.
Mm-hmm.
What was that like compared to your previous kingdom?
So my previous kingdom, neither of us really fully knew what was going on. When I first joined it, I learned a lot about the raids that I didn't know anything about before that. I thought that the previous month's event, which was September's event, was the Mimic King.
Yeah, Mimic. Yeah.
I thought that was just the bosses.
Yeah.
Because I had no idea there were any raids. So when I joined there, I found out that there were raids and monthly raids.
I think OBOT has quite a reputation for raiding, right?
Yeah.
A little bit.
We killed a lot of the fools on the first.
You would have, I guess that was probably your first opportunity to get some event stuff like Ring of Day, Ring of Night, that kind of thing, right?
I actually ended up finding a couple of the Queens of Doku 4 around where my campus is.
Oh, Queen de Calfor, yeah.
Yeah. And got the Ring of Night, and I don't know if I actually got the Dusk Boots from her, or if I forgot to turn off my auto dismantle.
I actually got a message from a mate, a local player, yesterday or the day before yesterday. He found a Queen de Calfor way up on the northwest coast of Scotland, like at the very end of the train line. Like I'm talking like 6-hour train line as far as you can go.
Yeah, right.
Sent me a message. Oh, there's a Queen de Calfor up here. I'm like, it's a bit far for me, mate. But if I was that desperate, maybe. But you can actually get the Calfor, the Dusk stuff from fishing now.
Fishing,
but,
yeah. That is interesting though. That means that there was somebody active around there, around the event, right? Because they haven't kept spawning. It's just that if they did spawn, they follow the same boss spawn mechanics, right? The 80%, 20%. Yeah, that's interesting. I still see a couple every now and then. For ages, I had a debate with a heap of my mates that is it Pyre?
Yeah,
was
the other one,
an event boss.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, he's definitely an event boss. And they didn't believe me. And then I think eventually he became not an event boss. So now they'll never believe me. Because he's just there now. So Flux, what month did you say you started? Did you start in September when the Mimic was around, or was that when you joined? That was when you joined Robot?
That's when I started overall.
Right.
Halfway through, I don't remember what October's was.
Pumpkin.
Off the top of my head. I actually can grab the date for when I joined Robot.
So October was Mimic, right?
Yeah.
No, October is Pumpkinhead.
Oh, it was Halloween, of course. Yeah. Right, okay, so it was September was the Mimic, which is what you said before, actually, yeah. Okay, so you've not been playing for too long.
Yeah. Trying to see when this message was.
Try and find it from your friend. So that's interesting, though. So you've not been playing for a really long time, and you're currently in Tier 10?
Yep. At level 231 right now.
231 right now. Yeah, that's a fairly good pace right there. And you've done a lot of your leveling through playing in the world, or do you just raid a lot through OBOT?
So I've done a few times where I'll just raid for a couple hours with a bunch of people.
Yep.
And the raids will go down before you even get a chance to get max damage sometimes.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
And other times, whenever we go on a family trip, I'll be sitting in the back, like, half asleep playing Orna. That's actually right when I hit Tier 9, we went on a skiing trip. So I got all the quests done on that trip.
Nice. Big long drives. They're the best.
Yeah.
You can get a big long drive and you can manage to convince somebody else to take the wheel. Just sit there on your phone the whole time. You won't even realize that you've made it to your destination because there's that many world bosses and areas to take and dungeons.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love it. Love it.
Now it's mostly endless.
Yeah. Nice. So what really attracted you to this game? Did you said it was your mate told you, but presumably you have something about this game that you really enjoy when you started playing it.
So when I started seeing just on the App Store, the 8-bit kind of sprites and the Final Fantasy kind of combat system.
Yep.
That was probably the biggest thing that was like, oh, yeah, this is going to be something that's going to be fun.
Yeah.
Yes. I agree. Yeah, no, the Final Fantasy-esque elements is something that I've already said that appealed to me, and I think that's something that a lot of folk have become attracted to this game through, is looking at those sprites, looking at how the combat works. And I'm not sure, does Orna actually have a short video on its app store? I should have a look at that. But if they got to see the combat of it, they'd probably jump in. But yeah,
I don't know if they have a video.
Yeah,
I'm checking right now.
you're checking right now. Just grab one of Shabash's. Nah, that's
No,
cool,
it doesn't have a video. It just shows.
Yeah, and so this friend that got you into it, did you guys get to play together a lot?
So we played a lot of games online together.
Yeah.
We did have a kingdom for a while. I was in it from like level 10 up till level 175.
Yeah.
Which I think ended up only taking like a month.
Yeah, right. Wow.
Flying, yeah. I think you can only join kingdoms at level 25 though.
Yeah.
Maybe it was level 25 or something.
So did you make the kingdom yourselves?
He did, yeah.
Right, okay. And that's probably the reason why you didn't know raids existed, because you'd never seen them before. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. And then you go from not raiding to OBOT.
Two absolute extremes, yeah.
So I feel like the world needs a little bit of an explanation as to why we're laughing about that, because Ornate Burrito of Taters is a conglomerate of kingdoms. Yeah. Is there 4 kingdoms, I think? 3 or 4?
So we have OBOT, which is the main one.
There's
Robot,
Little.
Which,
I love Robot the best, personally.
Yeah, Robot, that's good, isn't it?
Relaxed.
So Relaxed, Ornate Burrito. Oh no, there's like turtles and stuff in there as well, isn't there? Yeah. And then there's Little. Oh, yeah. So there's probably
Ornate Burrito of Taters.
Yep. So there's 3 at least, maybe 4. Yeah. There's a lot of people. The Discord is enormous, really friendly place. And they've got a bit of a reputation of being very high paced. So they will do a lot of raiding, but they will also do a lot of gauntlets and stuff. So there's a lot of expectation around high kingdom engagement, activity overall. So we're smashing out our gauntlets, we're smashing out our kingdom quests so that we've got a high Florence balance so that we can constantly run temples, and gauntlets are constantly getting done so that we can always have raids up, and they'll always be at their 50-member limit and cycle players in and out based on whether it's a time that they can be super active or not. And it seems to work really, really well for them, and has done. I think, gosh, OBOT's been around for a while, right? Like a very long time. Yeah. But it's really funny to go from not raiding to OBOT, because a lot of us will sometimes sit there enviously looking at some of the people from OBOT talking about the amount of raids they'll get through for an event. Yeah. I think when Cerus was around, July last year, I think that there was a day where OBOT got through in one day half of what my kingdom got through for the month.
In the entire month? And
and our kingdom's not like a poor kingdom or a low kingdom, or we try to go at it a little bit. So that's heavy raiding. So it is, that's where the chuckles come in of, not going to raiding, then going to OBOT. That's intense.
I think for Curb we went through, I want to say 4 or 5 million Orns in just a weekend. It was a lot.
Wow.
I know someone has a graph somewhere floating around.
Oh gosh,
Did you get anything
that
out of it?
is, yeah.
I was not tier 10 until the very last minute that curb was up.
The last
So I
minute.
got one hit on him before he just left.
Damn. Well, the way it's going now, though, is that regret of missing an event is quickly gone because it just has been for a while. Each event has something really cool to go for. So I reckon that people would forget pretty quickly. And like the example being Kerberos is like, I got that staff because I needed that staff because it was the best staff in the game. It had a huge ward on it. It has pet action rate. This is a big deal. And then I God forged it, so that's even better. But I'm not using it at the moment because there's cool crit stuff going on and I'm excited about other stuff. So it's like not the end of the world to miss out on.
Not even use it. Yeah.
Well, I used it for a bit, but then cool crit stuff came out and I stopped using it.
Ooh, next shiny thing. Yeah.
That's right.
Ooh,
the
shiny.
content though, it's cool, man.
Yeah.
Like it just keeps us hooked. There's more stuff to go for. So that's cool, Flux. Thanks for sharing that, mate, and really excited to have you on and share more of the community with more of the community. So
I'm excited to be here.
Awesome, man. And thanks for smashing down some energy drinks at 8 a.m. to make sure that you could make it. That's a big deal. Cool. Well, do we want to go through our topic list now? We do have them in this order. You're happy to sort of stick with this order, are you, Shabbash?
I am, yeah.
Yeah, cool. So we had a few changes that come through in. They were titled as the March-April changes, I think, in Odie's Reddit post originally, and have since been implemented, and we get to play around with them now. So wanted to maybe just run through what we think about those. Now, do you guys need a link? I have placed a link there for you both to see to the update that happened, which is 2.10.7. So you see that one as well, Shab?
I mean, the first one doesn't really relate to me, Japanese translations, but that's obviously a really, really good thing. More translations.
Mm-hmm.
I hear there's a proper English one coming as well, fairly soon.
Yep. Yeah, more translations. That's just cooler and more a larger community to play with. Absolutely. So, Japanese translations straight off the bat. That's just a good thing. The second one though, that's a pretty big deal. Flux, what do you reckon?
Saved equipment sets. When the fourth one was added, I thought that I had accidentally bought it without realizing it. I'm like, when did that get there? That's probably one of my favorite parts about this update. It makes going from Gauntlet, starting it off, buffing up, especially in Endless, makes it really easy to get it rolling and get what you need in spells and in buffing. And it's nice on Realm for getting the different raids.
Yep. What's your experience been like so far, Shabbash?
Sorry, go ahead. What was that?
I was just asking you how you found it.
All right. I was going to say it was interesting how you're using it, Flux, compared to how I'm using it. I'm really happy he added a fourth one because with 3 it was good, but I kind of wanted one thing for like 2 options for each loadout initially, but that's impossible. And then so I had a view distance one loaded out because I still do a little bit of world farming, and again I couldn't have view distance on and then a world farming one and then 2 different loadouts for PvP, a loadout for Gauntlet, etc., etc. So basically what I'm doing now is I've got 2 PvP sets. This is on Realm. I've actually not really made any sets for anything else. So I've got 2 PvP sets for Realm, a view distance set, and like an Orn farming set, which I can use in Gauntlets because I'm not doing endless at the moment. I'm just doing normal gauntlets, hard gauntlets, trying to Godforge stuff, which is ongoing. But having 2 PvP sets, being able to switch between, that's really good. Love that. So adding that 4th one in for free, maybe he missed it out initially, but I think 4 is a decent slot. I mean, I've heard some chat that people think he's going to add more slots available to purchase in the room shop. I don't know how true that is, if that's rumor or if that's actually happening. Being quite a stingy, hoarding RPG player, I think I can get by with 4. I don't know how you feel, Dangy, if you'd probably go all out and get as many as possible, I'd imagine.
Look, I mean, I don't hold back spending cash on hobbies. So yeah, I mean, like if I had more, that'd be good. I actually was surprised to see the direction you went with your equipment set. So the save loadouts initially when it came in, I think it was that it saved your loadout and it was 3, and it saved the spells and the loadout at the same time, the equipment at the same time, which it's doing right now, but it's kind of independent with the skills and the equipment. So you can can't you put on like your PvP gear and your gauntlet? Like you can sort of go into the skills and choose one or the other and it doesn't swap them now, isn't that right? Or does it not just yet? Maybe I've made that up. Thought it did. But anyway, I like the 4th. Yeah. So I like the 4th. That's a good one. I thought that you were going to go the direction, Shabbash, of you wanted more because swash and not swash.
Well, that's how my PvP loadout is, yeah. I've got 1 swash, 1 non-swash. And to be honest, like when my swash one is kind of like a generic swash thing. Even I could probably have 5 or 6 different swash loadouts. Stats immunity, max attack, offense, defense, low mana. There's scope for change there, but I think I've limited myself to two kind of main ones, and then I can change 1 or 2 items as needed, depending on the matchup who I'm fighting as well.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know. Like it might depend for me what class. I reckon on Realm I could find a few slots to fill. On Gilgamesh I could find probably 5 or 6 to fill if I really wanted to. And I think Pooh's just chucked in there about Gilgamesh, which I'm still yet to try, but I'm mucking around with crit and realm strikes too much to try it just yet. I'm loving the equipment slots. That is a game changer. The amount of load time that it took to change each individual item was sometimes really frustrating. And the one that you said, Flux, I think is where a lot of people use it, is swapping between raids. If you want to go and do a Morrigan, you might need to put a Briny Pendant on, and then you go do an Apollyon. You might want to put Ring of Day on, swap them out, whatever. So yeah, just a massive thumbs up for a good addition there. I think it's fantastic. The next one, I think we kind of debated a little bit, and to be honest, I'm not even really using it yet. So I might chuck it to you guys. Shabbash, what do you think about auto dismantle by tier? How have you found it?
Initially, so my first thinking was that this works alongside the quality auto dismantle. So if you switch on, let's say tier 8, you want to auto dismantle tier 8, it will only auto dismantle items of the quality that you've also ticked off. But that's not how it works. And I'm currently trying to get an Ornate Avalon Crown, which is a tier 8, very nice swash helm, and very nice helm in general. And so I normally run my quality auto dismantle. I run poor, superior, and famed. Those I auto dismantle. I keep broken, normal, legendary, and obviously you cannot actually dismantle ornate. Right, that's how it's worked until now. So I was just kind of going along with this auto dismantle by tier on, and then I have a look at my raid reward screen one day, and then it's an Arthas raid, and I see Ornate Avalon Helmet, auto dismantled into Avalon Ore, and I'm like, I double check. It's like, is that actually is that an Orna that's just been dismantled? And I have no idea if I've actually found an Avalon Crown and it's been dismantled. I don't think I have, but at that point, realized like, okay, I need to turn this shit off because you can't control it. So I did make a suggestion in the Discord. I don't know, just to make it clear that the auto dismantle by tier overrides completely the quality dismantling, or make them work together, or just have a look in there. But because I do like to have it. I don't necessarily want to have any tier 1 or tier 2 items, etc., which I need anymore. Which I have that on. Yeah. But that's something which kind of shook me up a little bit, and hopefully makes it either clearer or he makes them work together.
I nearly had a heart attack. If you said that you dismantled an Avalon Crown, oh my gosh.
I don't
know how many raid equivalents it was, but I had 5,000 Avalon ore by the time I finally got one.
Mental.
Those things don't drop easily. So I would have cried for you if you had have auto dismantled that. That's really good to know. I didn't know that. I haven't been using it, and I'm kind of glad I haven't been using it, because if I had dismantled a Avalon Crown, that would have been rough. Do you use it at all, Flux?
So I use it for tier 7 and lower mostly, and there will be some times I just switch it off, do some specific raids. If there's ones that are lower, like for the Fool, I had it off. And I've had Carl yelling at me. I'm like, dude, you were the one that gave me all this.
Clear your inventory,
yeah?
Yeah.
I need to go through and find what I actually need to keep and what not to.
I mean, I think, especially for the event raids, that's when there's actually a lot of lower tier items which are actually useful for endgame. Think back to last month with the smelly shoes from Nagini, That's a tier 5 item, very easy to have. You might have had that on the dismantle, and you might have got a broken elemental pair which has gone whoosh and gone. So yeah, I think if it's a good point to bring up that it's people may or may not use it yet, or you thought about using it, kind of be clear on how it actually overrides the quality normal dismantling.
Yeah, I had no idea. That's absolutely brilliant to know, and that might save some people if they know that's the case. Maybe turn it off, particularly for the event bosses that are lower tiers, or drop lower tier gear. That's wow. Thanks, Shab. There's quite a big list here, and I'm thinking that we don't need to go through every single one of these, because a few of these are fairly straightforward, and we knew going into it that there was going to be some benefit, like the followers now cost gold up until tier 8. Covered that last time, really big benefit, and I've seen it firsthand so far. My wife is playing the game fresh, and she got really excited that she could buy a Wisp with gold, because it was really hard for her to afford beforehand. So it's just a benefit for the early game, and gives people exposure to more pets. So really big one. And I know that I've skipped a point, boys. I'll return to that one. That's a big one. My favorite one. The in-app widget to get help. Cool addition, Odie. Cheers for that. That might help some people find you a little bit easier. So really appreciated. The ability to re-challenge completed codex entries. That one actually is kind of neat. Maybe touch on that after just running through a couple of these. Multi-hits now show damage summary. Touched on that last time. Really cool. Have a bit more consistency and know what you are actually hitting as a total damage. So perfect. Couple of extra sprites for T10 classes that only affects our T10 listeners, but that's cool. Go, if you haven't noticed, go have a look in the appearance section for any sprite packages that you have bought, or go have a look at the classes for tier 10 sprite packages, and you'll see that there's now, is it 8 of each sprite rather than 6? Is what it was before.
I know there was one added for Realm. 1, 2, 3.
There's one added for each tier 10 class. I think it's now 6.
Yeah,
it's 6, is it? Okay, so it was 5 and now 6. All right. Yep, there you go. Cool. The fishing lines at fountains is cool. Okay, so there's a couple of ones that I think are our big boys, which are probably the Fey Cactus, the ability to extract adornments, and I don't know whether we necessarily need to retouch on that one, but maybe we give Flux the option to run through that, and the crit rate bonuses. So probably starting with the adornments one. Flux, have you got the opportunity to use that much?
I've gotten the opportunity. Just before it was announced, I was going through old gear and breaking it down for the materials. And I wish that I had known about this before. Because I lost a couple 2% Jewels of the End.
Oh, you just by destroying them?
Oofed.
Yeah.
Oof.
I accidentally destroyed one the other day because my phone wasn't updating. So I tapped the button again and it destroyed it.
Oh, no.
But it has been nice for getting all of the ones I currently have on my old Northern Crown and other gear at least all 2% if I can.
Yeah. Now, there'll be some folks listening, Flux, that are hearing you say some of my 2% Jewels of the End. This is a product of you being in OBOT and having opportunity to raid Apollyon as much as you have, because there's a big chunk of us who don't quite have that many Jewels at the end and might be a little bit more upset about that. But that's a shame, man. Yeah, this thing's cool. You can get those back. When you do eventually get a better Old Northern Crown, you might be able to pull them out and put it in the new one at the cost of 1 arm per jewel extraction. But
I have a lot of extra gold. I think I have 7 billion. So when I did it, I only went down to 5, and I'm already back up at 7. So it hasn't been too bad on that so far.
So I just got distracted by a private message from Odie.
Yeah.
He's just said
it popped up.
He's just said he just told me that ornates do not get overwritten by auto-dismantled by tier, which is, thank God.
Now that's interesting. Do we have a guest listener? Do we? That's pretty interesting. We have a far reach, eh?
Global.
No, that's a shame, losing those jewels that you did, but now you've got the opportunity not to do that going forward, which is a big win for a lot of people, I think. And the adornment extraction has been something that I think a lot of us who are probably closer to what you'd call the end game, or in the end game, where we're sitting on billions of gold, and I think that a lot of 250s or 240s or whatever are sitting there on 30, 50, maybe more billion gold, and now we're suddenly seeing our stocks get a little bit lower. I think I had a look at one of my items. I have an Arisen Fey garb, is it? Realm Arisen Fey. I forget what the Morrigan garb is called. Plagued or something. Raven garb, that's it. And to extract just standard jewels from it, which I'm going to destroy instead of extract, would cost me 14 billion gold total.
For one.
So, yeah. No, total for all of the gems that are in there. Yeah, but 14 billion isn't low. So I actually think that he's done a pretty good job at balancing the amount it costs, because now it's giving us something to think about with our builds a lot more. And Shabbash is now, as an example, starting to farm for gold, which is pretty crazy to think that a guy who's level 250 and has played as much as this guy has, if you've seen his stats for anyone, he's killed a lot of things. He's now farming for gold. So
I mean,
screamed.
I'm selling all my items. Like, I've literally put off.
Wow.
For tier 10, I'm talking. I've put off auto dismantle almost completely now, and I'm selling bloody Lioness gear from Lioness Knights to the shop for cash. I think the first night this update dropped for me, I was in a similar position to you, Flux. Like one of my first items I got when I reached tier 10, I think it was just like a normal Banshee robe. But I stacked it with all my best tools, and this armor came pretty redundant after not too long, and it's just been sitting there in my stash waiting for this day. And immediately I spent like 25 billion gold just removing like 10 adornments or something like this.
Wow.
Azure opinions, failed projects in the past before learning what mechanics, how they work, that kind of thing. So now it's like full on Band of Gods, Court Jetter's outfit, tier 10. I think there's a 10% gold increase there. I have to clear my inventory like twice a day if I'm playing regularly, just to sell stuff. So yeah.
I think that's great though. That's
I think
awesome.
It's great as well. Love it. I've seen people, who've been tier 10 for a lot longer, people up on the global leaderboard who they've got billions of gold, literally billions, and now there's like a really good, I think you said it's like really well balanced gold thing. Mm-hmm. So I love it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we're going to have to start playing more to get gold. And then we're going to balance our builds. Like, what gems exactly do we want to put in there? And I'm loving it. Although I had to extract gems from the same weapon twice because Odie went and introduced really cool gems like 2 days after I just put really cool ones in my weapon. So, I mean, thanks. I love the new ones, but that was a big big waste of billions.
Where's the heads up?
Cool. Yeah. All right. Well, there's a couple more on there, and one of them is Fey Cactus. Now, I only got this recently and haven't had much of a play with it. Have either of you guys played around with Fey Cactus much?
I've gotten a few chances, but I don't have much Bayo gear. So it's mostly been just seeing what it does a little on the base side with both Realm and Heretic.
So you've been using it with non-Bayo classes?
I've tried it a few times for a defensive, just kind of having something else to do damage as well.
Right, okay.
Especially on defense and wars.
Any success?
Because I'll be able to... What was that? Sorry.
Any success there?
Not much. I do much better with a Mighty Mimic. So I've gotten mine to be able to turn to start attacking and keep attacking.
What, and not cast Mischief every turn?
So I only have like 4 skills in my loadout. I go Gunner, Warriors Profane, Omni Strike 3, and then I have Sleep Dart in there that it almost never casts, apparently. But when I was making it more consistent, my the one person that has areas around me, was like, yeah, most times you'd kill me turn 2.
Right.
So
or it would last till turn 8. And that would be a 50-50.
I wonder who was matched up with you from my kingdom and whether they're in the podcast and are taking notes on what you're equipping skill-wise now so that they're all set up to beat you next time. So, Lucky, if you pair up with Flux, you've got him, mate. Sorted.
Lucky's right there.
Yeah, he
Why
is.
Omni 3? Well, don't know. But you can expect it. Sleep immunity. You might need sleep immunity.
Have you used Fey Cactus at all, Shab? Now,
No.
I think you actually didn't you speak about potentially Cactus being like what you'd like to see on the last podcast?
I guessed it was going to be the event, the April Fool's Raid. So completely wrong. You were correct. You rightly assumed it was going to be the Fool again. So well done. But yeah, I saw a Fey Cactus teased by the dev a few weeks ago, so I threw it out there. I didn't know what was coming, but it's permanent
I must
pet,
have missed the teaser. I must have missed the teaser because I thought you just pulled that out of nowhere, and then
really?
I saw this thing pop up.
No, I saw it. I saw it in the Discord. I didn't just make it up.
Oh, I was thinking this guy's just come up with something cool, and it's here straight away. No, that's awesome.
No.
Have you used it though?
No, I've not. I've not used it yet. I managed to get one. I've not really played any. I've not played pet build for a while properly, but
yeah.
I mean, I really like and I've heard a lot of good things about this pet, by the way, by some Beowulf mains. It's almost like a swash pet. Like the attack is really high. He's got the 2 arrow storm skills, which just burst out damage numbers. Really cool.
It's mental. So my main comment on it is that I've come up against it in Arena, and it's brutal. Like even on a deity that's wearing Fey gear that I have, if I don't use golems on turn 1, that thing will shred me.
Yeah.
It won't one-shot me, but it'll do a lot of damage to me. And there's a few guys in my kingdom using them. I think Fluximus is using that thing for a lot of the content now. And day one of it coming out, we were seeing that people were tearing through Morrigan with this thing pretty easily. I think it unseated, I can't pronounce it, Falar, is it?
Falar,
yeah, it unseated Falar pretty well straight away. It looks cool is the other thing. Like seeing a billion numbers pop up like that is just fun.
Yeah.
So, yeah, no, it's a good addition. The reason I haven't used it though, boys, the reason I've been a little bit distracted. Well, I've got it. I own it. I've got the ones there. I've bought it. But something else came out at a similar time, maybe a couple of days later, and it's in this list. Equipment with crit rate bonuses now have more of an effect on skills and spells. Oh boy.
I'm not sure more is the correct word there. It should just be have an effect, right? Because it didn't have an effect before. Or it didn't work
That's
before.
right.
But, Dangy, you've got me really hyped. You sent me a screenshot of some of these new jewels and some of your realm strikes endeavors, and I have to say I was actually saving my summoning scrolls for a while, but I'm actually going to save and actually use some at the end of the month, and I've already used quite a lot. So,
I think
talk us through why.
Yeah, I will. So, the recent change means that the skills that can crit that exist, and they are things like Realm Strikes was an example, but even at lower levels and lower tiers, there's Beast Strike 2, 3 Beast Strikes. There's some Fey spells that can crit. There's Ultima that can crit. These are high level spells. And all of these spells now and skills can be impacted by a crit percentage multiplier on a piece of equipment, whether that's a base in the weapon. So some weapons will have 2% crit on them or 4% crit. And then there's also gems.
Yeah.
Or adornments, I should say. The two major players at the moment were the Turtle Feathers, which I think Shabbash, you told me were a 1% crit.
Yeah.
Yep. And for a little bit now, a couple of months, we've had the Ashen Pinions, which came from the Ashen Phoenix, which had a 4% crit on them. Up until this point, builds around the Ashen Pinions haven't been super appealing because the other stats that come along with this pinion are negative to your attack or magic, as well as negative to your defense and res. And defense and resistance isn't a big deal. Typically, the class or the spec, I call it a class because everyone treats it as a class with Swashbuckler, is actually okay with negative defense, but it's not okay with negative attack. So that was a really big deal, and we're not sure that it's worth it. And the only thing that crit affected previously was the attack button. Now it opens up a big, wide array of different builds that you can make, because if I can hamper my attack my attack stat, I should say, by 400, 500, 600, whatever, total, but it increases my crit and I can now start using Realm Strikes, does that make Realm Strikes a viable skill? So Realm Strikes previously wasn't that great because its base damage is lower than Swordplay, way lower than Warrior's Purveying. It doesn't have the cool benefits like Warrior's Purveying has, that it can blind and lull and stun in it. And the Swordplay has the buffs and debuffs, so single attack up, match up, whatever, single defense down, that sort of stuff. So it wasn't mega appealing, and on top of that, Realm Strikes could miss. So now it can crit. Suddenly it could potentially do more damage than those, or it could level out and do about the same damage depending on how you build it. And then in this content in April where Odie's dropped Cerus, and we'll talk about Cerus soon enough, I'm sure, there was a adornment that came with the World Raid boss, which is what you're referencing, Shabbash, with your summoning scrolls there, that gives 4% base crit on weapons. So it's a weapon adornment, and it's really interesting because I think the top probably two types of adornments that people have historically gone for are either ward adornments, so anything that increases ward is a good thing, or they've gone for adornments that would reduce the defense or resistance of the enemy that they're fighting. So that would be heretics or assassins jewels.
Yeah.
And then other than that, sometimes people will use status proccing ones for PvP and stuff, but that's not that common. That's somebody who's getting pretty heavy into their builds. Now you've got a way to build a heap of crit on your weapon. Now, you did have it through Morrigan gems previously, but again, this was during the time that crit wasn't a big player as it is now. So what that means is we've got these cool builds. Now, I've got this build that I've built where I talked about I had to remove a heap of gems from a weapon because Odie released
So what
these
weapon
ones.
was that?
So it's an Arisen Demeter's Halberd. And I was very fortunate. I've got 195% roll, so it's really good. This weapon's the Swashbuckler Gilgamesh Dream, I think anyway. It's out of that and the Neiman Havoc, the Fey Neiman Havoc, but I personally like the Demeter's Halberd. It's got a high base ward on it, and it's got a decently high attack. And now I've gone from using originally Assassin's Jewels, then I swapped them all out into Arisen Jewels for extra ward and extra attack, and now I've swapped them to Ferocious Bullseyes, they're called. And they've got 4% base crit, and they've got mana on them, which is a big deal because the other pinions that we use as Swashbuckler reduce our mana to a point that often we can't actually function very well, so we have to start deciding how far we reduce our mana. So now I can build 20% crit on my weapon through 5 slots, which I've done. Very, very fortunate with the drop rates because the Cerus boss itself doesn't pop up very often through summoning scrolls. I've used about 110 and I've got 7 of them so far, and I'm fortunate enough to have 5 gems.
Well,
yeah,
that's crazy, isn't it? 7
a bit rough.
Out of 110. I thought the way that you were showing me at the start, well, I guess you kind of got lucky with the quality of at least one of those gems, right? Maybe more. From the look in your face, I've seen one ornate.
So on my first 5 Cerus, I got 5 Ferocious Bullseyes. I think it was the first one that I got, was like 199%, like near perfect.
Basically max.
Ferocious Bullseye.
Nice.
And yeah, it is an incredible gem because it alone has 24 attack on it, which is great, but it's got as much mana as an accessory or offhand, I think. I'll go have a look. I have to have a look at what the actual mana is on that one gem, but it's really handy because I was running out of mana. But that's made the build pretty interesting because what I can do now is I've used Ashen Pinions to increase my crit even further. I've got 5 Ashen Pinions on a pair of pants, 5 Ashen Pinions on my chest piece. So that's overall through my whole gear set 60% crit. Not as high as some people. There's a guy called Dan Plan who was parading around his 103% crit build today. But that guy is just another level. But yeah, having the 10 Ashen Pinions though is a pretty big deal because that's 10 times negative 40 attack, right? So that's a lot to lose. And as a swashbuckler, when you lose that much attack, when you incorporate the passive, you're losing more than your 400 attack. So that's a pretty big deal. And one of my Ashen Pinions is actually legendary, so I lose like 67 attack on it. Cool. But it's an interesting build. It's comparable to probably a Realm Shifter running not Warrior's Purveying, probably Swordplay. If you can get it to crit a lot. But I will say that I've noticed that the crit rate when I originally built it seemed higher, and now it's not as high. It's not critting as frequently. So I've got 60% on gear. I thought Realm Strikes was a 20% base because I thought I'd seen Odie say that. And then I've got Worm's Song on, which I thought 80, and then you times it by 1.25 would bring it to 100, but it's definitely not 100. So I don't quite know how the math on that works and whether there's a cap, but it's a lot of fun. It's so cool just running through, especially gauntlets. I'd say I can press the attack button and just see crits all day. It's a different way of playing. I wouldn't say that it's overpowered. It takes so much investment to get to that point. You're losing a lot of attack to do it, and people can't afford to do that on most weapons that they carry or most builds. So I just think it's awesome because it's made me change completely how I'm playing the game. And anytime I get the opportunity to do that, it renews my energy for playing, and I want to play for longer. So this crit change up, I'm a huge fan of it.
Something brand new. So just talking about, you were just saying something changed in the crit rate. Was that with you not changing the gear whatsoever?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
yep.
Okay. So maybe tinkering. I mean, 100% crit rate. Yep. Crit chance, maybe that is a little bit too much. But as you said, the thing is, you do have to invest a lot, and you have to drop a lot of other things to get that amount of crit, don't you?
Yeah, so it's. I think that's where it can get really hard to work out and balance, and I trust Odie to fix this up properly. But if you focus purely on the crit rate, you would naturally go, that seems overpowered. That seems ridiculous that people can crit every single time. But if I was to stack it up to me, and I could even just run it on Gilgamesh, right? If I ran Gilgamesh with 2 Arisen Rings, and my Arisen Rings are close to 200, so I've got a 196 and a 197. If I ran that with a really good weapon and, yeah, look at Shabbash just, but if I did that with Charmer and did Warrior's Purveyings, I'd do that much damage. I'd do the same amount of damage that I'm critting with, especially when you can, have better survivability in a lot of those builds too, because you're not reducing your defense. Like the Ashen Pinions reduce your defense as well. So I don't know. It's something that's, I get that there might be a little bit of tinkering that needs to happen. Probably one day here from the great man, if there are any sort of caps or anything on specific skills. If I was to guess, I would think that there's something going on similar to, I don't know if you guys know how Mystic Feather works, how it's sort of like it's not Dex plus Mystic Feather, it's Dex or Mystic Feather. So I think maybe there could be something like that. Once your crit rate on gear gets higher than the crit rate of the skill, then it starts using your gear crit rate rather than the skill crit rate is a guess maybe. So then that way it can't get to 100, but I don't really know. I guess we'll find out over time. I plan to do more testing, Shab. I'm going to put 5 more Ashens on my gear, see if I can bring my gear crit rate to 80% and see if I can get it critting the whole time.
Wow.
But I'll really hamper my attack at that point.
I know the other week, Odie had said that he was testing a limit with it.
Right.
So that might have been when you saw that it wasn't doing as much. Dangy.
Yeah, he'd mentioned that there was a cap he was playing with, and I thought he mentioned that he turned it off, but not sure. Might have reinstituted.
Yeah, I mean, it's only been 10 days, hasn't it? So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Have you played with any crit stuff yet, Flux? Or?
So I've played with it a little when I did my Realm Sequencer and just did phase spells because I don't have Ultima.
Yeah.
And I put all of my Morganized into the Archstaffs and I actually got it critting fairly decently. Haven't really done too much with it outside of that. I am planning on having a full crit build once I get the rest of my Ashen Phoenixes killed.
This is with Realm Shifter Sequencer.
I'm glad that we're recapping that because that's an intriguing build.
Well, it's not stupid because, you know, Realm along with Heretic, possibly more better known for magic stuff, but Realm still has that extra crit damage. 2.5 rather than just 2. Pretty. You're going to surprise a lot of people, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, I need to change a few things up in that.
So are you using the Losal Perceptors?
Yeah.
Right, okay, yeah. They're similar to what I was using last time. Yeah, okay. Nice.
So I think that is the only thing that it can use.
Yeah, for melee-based builds, yeah.
Yeah,
and then I have, like...
So much. So many options.
Yeah.
I want to say I have only 5 Morganized and the rest Curb Jewels. Because they also have a 1% crit.
Yeah, the 1%. Now that we've got 4, we've been spoiled though.
Yeah.
Gobi, the crow songs can't be used as a staff or sequencer. So you won't get the quick cast or double cast happening. Like you can use the weapon, but you're not really getting that sequencer buff then. Wow, interesting build. And you've not played with crit yourself too much then, Shab?
No, I have... Oh, sorry.
Oh, sorry, mate.
Just a little bit. Nothing. I've not really built anything extra. Just been using what I had already. You know, a couple of weapons with full Morganized, which gets between 15 and 20% crit, and then using Worm's Song. It's made my hard gauntlets a little bit easier for sure. I've been doing them as Realm Shifter Seeker, so it's not necessarily the safest. Because I'm, running like just the Orn gear or gold gear, and just having that Worm Song extra crit chance makes something like Sortie just a little bit more reliable, which is really nice. I think I've definitely noticed the difference there. Beforehand, I was kind of using Guts as a backup to regain mana and health. I definitely had to use that much less. So yeah, I can't wait to kind of stock up on a few of these jewels. Some
I'd
bullseye,
encourage you
some
to.
ashen pinions, and
Yeah.
I just really, really love how it's kind of opened up a whole new range of different things available, and it kind of makes me want to get more gear and have, another full set of gear for a different thing, almost for each class. Like, I mean, you've been using crit stuff with Gilgamesh, which doesn't even get extra crit damage.
Yeah.
And it's working well.
Yeah, it's really interesting because like the gems are so, like the ashen pinions are really like nearly, I don't know what you say, controversial. It just doesn't seem to work well, the combined stats that you get on them, but they do have a base ward.
Yeah.
So they're a really intriguing gem, and this change up is, it's cool. It opens a lot of new doors, and now I want to do exactly what you were talking about, building all these different crit builds for stuff. And I know that Major wanted to put a whole heap on a bad bee that he's just Godforged, but they don't drop every time, man. I think I got really lucky. I got 5 out of 5 at the start. So I have to thank the Orna gods for that. But I think Major's 0 for 3 right now. So it's pretty tough. But yeah, I would encourage anyone who's listening and saving up their scrolls to go for Cerus, try and get them now so that you know how much gauntlets you have to do to try and get more of them, because he's not coming that frequently. Like I said, I've used probably, I think it's 110-ish scrolls.
Well, you are tier 11, remember, as well. This is a tier 9 world raid boss we're talking about.
Yeah, and they act the same for us now, don't they?
Oh, do they?
Yeah, I thought that they would change back to we're essentially tier 10 for world raids.
Between tier 10 and tier 11, yeah, okay. I mean, I was thinking if you are tier 9, you should have a better chance of spawning.
Sorry. Right, okay, I get what you're saying. Yep, definitely, yeah. I mean, the same probably still holds true. Don't bank on just using 15 scrolls at the end of the month and thinking that you're going to get a few of this.
Yeah.
Try and actually use a couple during, so that you understand how hard you need to push. If you desire building a crit build later, this might be worth your while.
Because if you pick maybe like, if you can manage to get, I don't know what, 4 or 5, that's like 20% in your weapon.
Mm-hmm.
And
that's exactly right. Yeah.
So you can fit out one build there.
It's exactly right.
Good question in the chat, which I don't have the answer to, is whether those buffing skills which do all up, for example, Deific Channel or Berserk 3, Berserk 2, whether that affects crit. I don't know. In your experience, Dangy, have you any idea on that?
I would say no, because it doesn't feel any different when DC Deific Channel is up, and it definitely doesn't for gauntlets when Berserk hasn't gone off yet on my Chimera. It's the same crit rates, and I can tell that really easily with the attack button.
Yeah, but
my attack button is
the Chimera Berserk is only damage.
Oh, damage, isn't it? Yeah. Deific Channel for raids definitely isn't affecting it, though.
Right, okay. I would guess not then. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, because I used, for testing the other day, I used Inquisitor, because I wasn't getting 100% crit rate on Realm Strikes, and somebody suggested using Inquisitor, so I did, and was getting 100% crit rate. But I had previously used DC plenty of times and not got 100% crit rate. So there's a difference there. But yeah, no is the answer there. So that was a big update from Odie, and we got good notes on it that are on Reddit. If anyone wants to go read it, Odie posts under the user Orna Odie. There is a Orna RPG Reddit, and a lot of these things he posts there, and you can also see them on the Discord. The Orna Discord has a game announcements channel that will list whenever there's been new game updates, and it's the exact same list that you'll see on Reddit. But I think it was a big month. And then that's probably, if I have a look at our topics again, probably leads pretty well into Cerus as a whole, which I don't know if you guys have been rating him much. Mr. Flux might have been absolutely smashing him. Is there anything that you're going for this month, mate?
I haven't gotten to do the Kingdom one much. I have gotten one of the World ones, which I was kind of worried he was just going to sit behind defend the whole time. But I think I actually took him down in one go. So.
Did he drop a
it's always
ferocious
nice
bullseye?
to do that. I got a normal one, but I did get one off of it. And I think I was only able to spawn him because Fey Yeti now drops more scrolls.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's
Great
cool.
point. Love that.
I got one scroll from Endless, spawned a Fey Yeti, got 4 more total scrolls overall, because out of the 2 that came from the first one, another one spawned that gave me 2 more.
Oh, Jesus.
What? Shabbash. The guests that come on here have crazy luck, man. I'm sick of it, you know? I don't know if you
I was
saw
waiting for this to pop up, you know. If you're not aware already, 100% of our past Arisen Podcast guests have then gone on to receive an ornate Old Nottingham crown.
100% of them. Every single one so far.
Every single one of them.
Oh, now I'm going to have to start grinding for it.
It will come, Flux. 2 or 3 weeks. Give it 2 or 3 weeks. You should get one.
Yeah, that's it. That's about one.
I got to put some Endless away.
Oh, yeah.
Far out,
well, yeah.
So the last guest cube got I think it was 198% as well.
God.
Like, ridiculous. Because, you know, he needed it. He already had ornate Fey Yeti horns and Ashen Phoenix gear. And I think he God forged his Ashen Phoenix thing the other day. And he's done one Arisen Morrigan and got an ornate off it. This guy, man, the luck. It's insane.
My most lucky thing was getting a 200% Bad Katha off less than 1,000 damage on Morrigan.
Whoa.
Lovely. Always.
Wow.
I was just tapping it to restart it, and then I look at my phone a couple hours later after I'm done with everything for that day. I'm like, wait, I actually got a drop from that?
Yeah.
And then I looked at it and I'm like, oh.
It's a really interesting point, mate, because, and this is a derailment because I want to actually get Shabbash to walk us through the mechanics of the new Cerus raid in a sec, but you've just touched on something that people need to be aware of when they're starting new kingdoms, or they're getting upset about how much damage they get to get into bosses for kingdom raids. It's not about how much damage you do. It's entirely about turnover of raids. If you want gear drops, the amount of damage you do helps for that raid only, but overall you are going to get more gear drops if the raids rotate more regularly. So you can get it from 1% damage, you can get it from 100% damage. It doesn't matter. You will actually overall, if you do 50% to 2, you will get more drops than 100% to 1, and that mathematics continues for as many as you can do, right? If you can do 10% to 100, it's way better than doing 100% to 10. Right. So yeah, it's an interesting point. But yeah, Shabbash, Flux just touched on the defending thing. Do you want to run us through this?
Not really, because I was gonna ask Flux why he's not done so many kingdom raids on Cerus yet.
So I think I looked at what actually drops from the Kingdom one. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think that there is a crit chance jewel on him, is there?
No, but there's some Stardust, which you can use to level up your Pokemon. Sorry, that was an awful joke. Really nice,
Wonderful.
really nice turtle adornment. Is it called? It's called Stardust, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
It is, but I want to let you just sit here feeling weird for a little second, you know.
Well, it's
Did I get it right?
It is Community Day, apparently, so we can get away with that. Yeah, Stardust lowers your offense, increases your defense resistance very significantly compared to other adornments that are currently available, and ward. So anything of superior quality or above, you get that 2%. Really, another really solid option. Cerus seems to be the event of adornment. Whenever I search bullseye, I get like, I don't know how many, 5 or 6 different adornments, kind of get a bit lost.
Yeah. The adornments are good, man. That Stardust one, it has ward on it as well.
Yeah, 2% at superior at least.
Yeah, exactly. I think in terms of actual gear, this is it's when this came around last year, the Cerus items they use, apart from the belt, the accessory, which is actually quite a nice belt, I really like that. The items required hardened steel to upgrade, right? Now, this time last year, hardened steel was probably one of the rarest, most sought after materials in the game, right?
Yeah.
People used it to basically level up their venom, and like that was it.
Yeah.
But then Searcher came, so people they got more hardened steel, but then used that for Searcher stuff. But since then, there's been a couple of mobs introduced, which you can actually now get hardened steel a bit more regularly. But this time last year, I distinctly remember a newer player. He got like an ornate, I think the ornate axe, the bull axe, tier 6 item, and he wanted to level it up, and he managed to get it to like level 5 or 6, and then didn't have enough hardened steel. And at the time, it was his best weapon, and I kind of wanted to say, hold off the hardened steel. You might need that later on, which is, it was a shame at the time because it was his best weapon that he found. So back to today, I think you can actually go pretty hard on hardened steel items. Plenty of ways to get it now.
Yeah. And you can run tier 1 boss gauntlets and get plenty of it.
Genius.
Yeah. I think it's like 3 bosses and 2 of them dropped hardened steel or something, or one of them drops hardened steel and the other drops a weapon that dismantles into it.
Minotaur?
Yeah.
Yeah, 14,000 right now.
I forget. Maybe it's 1 out of 3. I don't remember. But it's decent rates at tier 1. But we've also got the Arisen Minotaur that drops it now in the higher tiers, so that's handy. Yeah, the gear is interesting. I think like the warrior gear isn't necessarily being hyped up that much because it's in the same tier as Apollyon.
Yeah.
And Apollyon's gear is probably considered marginally better in a lot of ways because of the things like base attack is on it. There's built-in resistances to elements, HP, but because we don't always think outside the box, I actually think that there's a build that exists there that utilizes those extra adornment slots as well as the reduction in mana cost. So I don't know, I haven't done testing on it, but if you had 3 pieces of this, is it 15% reduction or something, or is it 10% a piece, 5% a piece, or 10% a piece?
I've heard 5% mana reduction per piece.
Yeah. So I wonder if there's a build that exists there that uses that mana reduction in an interesting way. I mean, at very least, it's not actually easy to get Apollyon gear, and if you happen to fluke into this gear, it's by no means bad. It's actually pretty comparable, which is why people aren't that excited, because it's pretty close to the same thing. If you got a Raging Bull, which is the axe that comes from this guy. It's not as high ward as a Abyssal Axe, but it's pretty bloody good. So you'll be able to use that for a fair while. And then, the adornments are just crazy. The Greater Bullseye, Flux, if you're not aware, has a huge amount of HP on it. So what's the base on that? It's higher than Jewels of the End, I think.
For HP?
40.
I can double check.
40.
Yeah, there you go. So that's, if you check for us, because my keyboard's loud.
Yeah, it's higher than Immortal Jewel.
There you go.
I was checking game. So it's got 40 health, 6 defense, 6 res, and 1 ward at base percent.
Yeah, so it's got really high HP, which matters more than you might think, because when you bring that into Arena, that increases your HP more, right?
By 80?
Yeah.
Because it doubles?
Yeah. And then it's a ward gem as well, which means that it gets that double benefit from the HP, because higher your HP, the higher your ward. So that's a really, really good gem right there. And I think that people are trying to hunt it down. The Stardust one is super unique, and I'm yet to see somebody actually running it right now, but I want to see what the theoretical maximums on defense res are now. I could see that there'd maybe be some... is Stardust tier 9 as well?
Yeah.
Yeah, I believe so. I think that's what I got it from.
Yeah.
It's available from the Kingdom raid and the World raid.
Yeah, cool. So that means that you could, a good build for that, a lot of people are jumping to Deity, but you could actually equip that on your Bahamut's or your Beowulfs, because they actually don't care so much what their own attack is. So you could reduce your attack all you want. Who cares? That doesn't actually impact your pet in any way. You could actually theoretically give yourself a whole heap of extra defense that you never had the ability to have, because you don't have that class passive that increases your stats. Now you become really annoying in Arena. In tier 9, that'd just be brutal, because the Crimson Gazer is a thing that just ruins people already. But imagine if they couldn't kill you and you had Crimson Gazer going off. And then for Beowulfs in tier 10, your Fey Cactuses will decimate people while you're managing to survive that first hit for the first time in your life, which is pretty neat.
Exactly. I mean, I've not used any of these drills yet, but I fired up my old max HP Beowulf Tamer build the other day. I think I got 36,000 health in Arena.
Holy cow.
Just the fact that HP is doubled in Arena is something I absolutely fucking love, and I've not seen many people use that. But if you can survive that first hit, as you said, Dangy, as Beowulf, that puts your pet, potentially 50% higher stats, depending how low your health goes, potentially up to double, and then it's into one-shot territory for a couple of pets for sure. And I'm not sure the base defense and res is that useful for Beowulf, but the high health.
Stardust doesn't have health on it.
No.
Yeah. With the high health, you mean, or?
Yeah, with the high health, yeah.
Yeah.
Because then, as you said, that leads into your ward as well. But it's typically, I mean, even now with Swash builds, the sequencer builds, being able to one shot Beowulfs on turn 1 has been that's been like the main. Well, I don't want to say meta, because there's not much of a meta really, but one shot meta. Does it exist? Maybe. I mean, it's why I've been doing either a sequencer or a swash to Beowulf before now. But because getting them into low health is actually dangerous in a similar way to Realm Shifter, having that HP pool, be able to tank that straight off. Having the Tamer spec, not having wards as Cataphract, already be up, so you can actually soak up the first hit and then potentially take him down. I don't know. It's something I want to.
It's a big deal.
Build to, yeah.
Nah, the HP stuff is it's a huge deal. to take advantage of for that PvP thing. And the Beowulf changes in general recently are only a good thing. I remember I used to see them and I used to go, "Aw," and then just kill them straight away. Now I actually am scared because I'm like, shit, how do I work out how to kill this thing before it triggers? If a Beowulf uses Ward of Orknight on turn 1 or Mimics Mischief, one of those two skills, I get genuinely terrified because I'm like, I don't know how much I have control over whether I'm going to get killed straight away or whether I can kill it before it kills me in 2 turns. If he uses Ward of Orknight turn 1. So the changes to those have made those very competitive.
Love it.
Yeah. Cool. Well, do we have much more to add on Cerus? Oh, we should probably talk through that defending mechanic a little bit.
Yeah, we should have done.
Yeah, because it's really interesting, and I was trying to palm it off to you, Shabbash. Do I still have the ability to do that? Do you want to run through it, or do you want me to run through it?
I think anybody who's fought the boss by now has got a grasp of how annoying this mechanic is. I mean, I don't know the numbers behind it, but when I see defending...
I was able to get a nice hit off on when he was defending physical.
Sorry, I didn't catch the start of that, Flux.
Oh, sorry. I was able to get a nice hit about, I think, 10,000-15,000 when he was physical defending.
Was that with the attack button?
No, it was actually with Swordy.
All right, with Swordy, yeah. I mean, I've been raiding a lot as Realm Swash, and I can use the attack button when he's defending, physically defending, or defense defending. But I don't know the numbers. I'm not sure if there's anyone in the chat or Dangy if you know the numbers behind this. But when the defense defending buff is there, or when the resistance buff is there, it's wow, stats go absolutely through the roof.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think Ulysses' Sword was talking about it today. Maybe I got that wrong. But about 8 times being the number. 8. So 8 times defense, which is monstrous.
Jesus.
And the only success that I've had so far is either using super high crit attack button, because my attack button will get through it, like you said, Shabbash. Because it's a high piercing, it'll do a bit of damage, and if it crits, then I can still get actually 100k hits in there with the Gilgar Swash, which is nice. The other way is high ward Gilgar using Spike Shield 3, because of the way that attack calculation works for Spike Shield. It goes off your ward and then multiplied by the buffs in a different way to what your attack is, so it just gets higher than attack does, which means that it'll still manage to do damage through it. As a mechanic, though, it's interesting and cool, because to me, we typically just smash every single event boss that comes out. And then we've had 2 recently that make you just stop and think a little bit. Yeah. Kerberos was really neat, and if you were using any sort of alignment, you were kind of screwed for a quarter of the battle, and sometimes you were doing really awesome, and that's what this feels like. You get walled off, and you go, oh, god damn it, it's not going anywhere, like I have to wait here for ages, and you're seeing your kingdom mates tear through it. But then every 3rd or 4th raid or whatever, you're the one that doesn't have him defending your type of attack, whether it be magic or a physical attack, and you can tear through him for a bit. It's interesting, frustrating as hell, but not in a way that's unrewarding or making you want to throw your phone because you just can't beat it. It's a matter of waiting this one out. Like, he doesn't get defense and huge attack at the same time. Yeah. He just gets that high defense, whether it be resistance or physical defense.
I mean, I can understand if you're in perhaps like a slightly less active kingdom, and if you're slightly not as well geared and you're used to doing big portions of raid damage at once.
Mm-hmm.
I've read a few comments of people being frustrated by that, and okay, I can understand. Yeah, I can understand that. Yeah, you have to wait it out, but it's a new mechanic. We've not seen this before, and as you said, I think the rewards behind it are pretty valuable.
Mm-hmm.
I like it. I like
Yeah.
it. It's again, it benefits just that high raid turnover point of view, rather than doing more damage but less raid turnover, which kind of in a way promotes the multiplayer aspect. You want to get more people involved.
Yeah,
get it taking it down.
Yeah.
Take it down faster.
Yeah. There's also an interesting way to play it, which I think somebody's just touched on in the chat, but it's about you can now actually try and tackle it as a hybrid build.
Yeah.
So because it toggles between the two, it will never have defending defense and defending resistance up at the same time. So you could theoretically run something that has both magic and attack. I don't know, a realm shifter sequencer, for example, just one that I came up with myself just then.
Totally brand new.
There might be a way that you could do consistent damage between those different defending stances. The main thing that I love about this, though, is that what it shows me is that Odie's pretty energized about his product at the moment. He's really excited, he's active, and he's trying new things. It feels like every single month. So that's my main point of excitement from this. Like I just think it's cool to see new mechanics. Whether every single one of them lands or not, I actually don't care. If they're getting tried, that's brilliant. That's absolutely awesome. So yeah.
Great point.
Yeah.
I think Dangy, that ties us quite nicely into some teasers, by the way.
Oh yeah. Take us away, mate.
I need to find this picture. So I'm not sure if he's posted this teaser on other channels like the Reddit or the new Facebook group, but on the main Orna Discord. So in that hype channel, he posted, when was it? Start of April, last week or something. So there's a picture with lots of new buildings that I can see. Flux, maybe you can have a think about this. But I see a lot of red roofs, which kind of makes me think back to my holiday in Rome. Well, red tiled buildings. But I don't know if this is like the build screen. But there's a few new buildings here. What have we got? From top to bottom, we've got Town Hall, Altar of Ascension, Citadel, Residence, Way Vessel. Then we've got the Keep, the normal buildings, and then at the bottom we've got the Herbalist, which was actually quite a nice surprise, because there was something like alchemy or herbalism which was on the roadmap for quite a long time, and then I think it was on the roadmap when I started playing, and then it got removed, I think. But now it's obviously making a comeback, which is really cool. So, I mean, the amount of different things that I kind of went through my head is I have no idea what to think about. I mean, Flux, what's the first thing that comes to your mind when you look at this?
So when I first looked at this, I'm trying to think, okay, Town Hall, Citadel, Residence, those seem like there's going to be some sort of NPC villages, either that you build or that you can add to. And then I see the Altar of Ascension in the Way Vessel. The Altar of Ascension, I'm not sure if it's going to be a tier 11 Arisen leaderboard or something. I know, sorry, 1 second.
Bless you.
Thank you. I know someone said either jokingly or just mentioned it that it could be a way to reset back a little bit for 250s.
So like reset. There's a few games that do that, isn't it? You reset your progression to like level 1 again, but you have slightly higher stats or something.
The Way Vessel is what I'm very excited about.
Why?
A lot of the talk in the hype channel on Discord has been about it being possibly sharing raids.
Sharing raids.
Which there's a few raids that I have, mostly my Ashen Phoenixes that I just don't want to go all the way on.
Well, I should be free actually, but I think
50-50.
Yeah, 50-50. Me and you, mate. Nobody else. I mean, it's obviously a portal, isn't it? I mean, he's mentioned sort of co-op play changes coming. I'm sure like the Way Vessel is some kind of portal which you can go to a zone and play with other people. Like something, it's got to be, which is so amazing. It's so cool. I mean, Dangy, we've talked about this.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think so Droz just said in the chat that Odie teased us with a comment. That was where my head went to as well. And I think that's where a lot of people are kind of pulling it from. You got the portal looking thing there, and I think Odie had said something like, what if there was a way to share your raids with your friends or something?
Yeah.
So I think that's where all of that's come from. And God, that'd be just incredible if that was something that we could do, because the community and playing together aspect is something that I bang on about every time I get the opportunity to stand on my soapbox as the reason that I enjoy this game the most. So if there's any opportunity to do that, I would very much encourage it. Be something that gets implemented, but don't know. It could be for something else. The Altar of Ascension being a leaderboard of 250s is a cool idea, Flux. Like that one as well.
You might be visible on the leaderboard then, Dangy.
Finally be visible on a leaderboard. I'm hovering around 420, man. That's my rank. That's where I sort of just sit.
There's been a few ideas that I've seen about it.
Yeah, cool. Herbalist. That's now in the sprite of that, for what he teased, it looks the exact same as the jeweler, which I'm imagining is just a placeholder.
Oh yeah, surely, yeah.
Looking at it, the Town Hall and Citadel, it's the same. So maybe they're just placeholders. But then he also teased a different image, which I'm not sure if I put in our like little coordination stuff. So I'll do that right now. But it had pasted the wrong thing. That's no good. But it had a different looking thing, which could maybe be either the herbalist or a change to something else. But the sprite, it's the same at the moment. But the herbalist is a cool idea, I think. I don't know what it could be. Maybe we get a use for our fish finally.
Yeah, I don't know.
Maybe we get other materials that start to drop.
I
don't know, or do we pick flowers? Like what happens?
Time to go get some strawberries.
Yeah, and it's taking me back to RuneScape days, picking up leaves and shit.
It wouldn't be bad. I just don't know, what we'll use. I'm hoping that it's fish, and I'm hoping that the herbalist is a way to make potions, specifically some way to increase, like if you've got low tier potions, maybe like super or X or whatever, maybe that's a way to do that. I don't know. somebody in the chat's just, Lucky has said new class or specialization, the herbalist. Could be lumped in with the other T5 specs where the utility seems to sit, like the fisherman one that we got chatting about last time.
Angler.
Yeah.
Master herbalist.
Yeah,
I think being able to make some kind of consumable item that makes more sense in my mind.
Yeah. But, I mean, what does this do? If this is all stuff that we can build, does this close to double what we get to build currently?
Sorry, what do you mean?
Well, in terms of the individual buildings that you can currently build.
If that's all that we get.
Yeah.
Because we can only do the keep, shop, bestiary, blacksmith, jeweler, and refinery.
Yeah. So this adding another 6.
Yeah.
It's cool. It's more things to do. I think like what this is probably what's going to be exciting for a whole heap of folk right now is that they're seeing potential content that they can interact with at home. Because right now we're still in the guts of this pandemic. People can't move around the way that they'd really ideally want to, especially playing a location-based game. If this is a way to do more stuff at home, that can only be a positive, at least now. And I don't think that that's a negative for the long term of the game. I know that there's a lot of passionate people about the location-specific stuff, but I think that will never go away. It's always going to be the quickest way to get a lot of stuff done. Mm-hmm. This is just it looks like there's going to be more to do at home, which means that now, once you've killed all of your bosses and you've done your menu gauntlet, usually you'd turn your phone off and put it down or open some other app. Now maybe you get to keep Orna open.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Build some residences. I mean, these like town buildings, it's like bringing me back to those games where you build a house and like that increases your sort of village. I'm thinking, what's that game? Not like not Age of Empires, but some kind of there was like an old fucking medieval game where you have to build a house and then like new villagers come into your house and then you get like 6. One house like means 6 people can come and then you can build other buildings and then they go to work in those buildings kind of thing. Stronghold. I don't know. Was it Stronghold? I don't know. I think it was Stronghold.
I've seen what's that. Oh yeah, there you go. Dan Plan said it's Stronghold. Yeah. I've seen that mechanic in a fair few games before. It's awesome. Like as you start out, you've got nothing.
Yeah.
And then over time, as you do things and you can build more buildings, it just feels more populated and more alive.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. In your area. So yeah, I mean, I wonder how much that expands to what they do for you, what you do for them, if that's the way that it goes. Like if there is a village and you pointed out Flux of residents, maybe that means there's NPCs. Does that mean that you get to do stuff with them or that they do stuff with you, or is it just like the current NPCs come and live in your town, just like a Terraria style, or
send them on your list for the day?
You know what? I put a suggestion out there ages ago about an adventurer mechanic where you could, house 3 warriors being like probably like a warrior thief and a mage, and you equip them with your old gear, like your gear that you're not using, and send them out on quests to bring you back stuff. And I think that would be just the coolest thing because you could use real life time, right? So it's a 24-hour quest, means that I can't grab it again or the results of that until 24 hours from whatever the time is for me right now. And that exists in other games already. That's not a new or unique idea, but I think that there's cool scope to do that in this game because you've got all this old gear sitting there, potentially duplicate gear. It gives you
Yep.
something to do with it, you could level it up and it might increase the success rate of those quests and whatever.
Or during the early to mid game gear that you can't wear, and you're complaining that you can't trade to your mate who's playing mage and you're playing thief. Yeah, send a mage off. Do a quest. I like that.
I didn't even think of that part. That's actually awesome, because that's like usually a big complaint is like, I'm getting the wrong gear.
Yeah.
But if you get benefit out of that wrong gear, it's like, like, oh, damn it, I got an ornate staff, but I'm a thief. Now you get to equip your adventurer with a staff and get to send them off. Bit of a deviation, because I don't really think that that's what's in this stuff here, but it could be cool down the track, because, I mean, this is just the start of building more stuff to do at home, right? So that's what I love about it.
It'll be interesting. I have to break down a few bestiaries. Built well over 100 the other day trying to find Chimera. Took like 3 days still.
Yeah, you're one of the guys who is suffering from it changing from, what was it, common to Master Forged, or I forget what quality it was prior.
Which pet? Chimera?
Yeah.
Fame. It was Fame.
Famed, was it? There you go.
Yeah.
I found a lot of the Fey Cactus, though, like 7 or 8 the first building them.
Wow. Took me ages. Took me right up until crit became a thing before I got it, and then I didn't use Fey Cactus because crit was a thing.
Arrowstorm cannot crit.
Arrowstorm cannot crit. I'll use it one day. I do like lots of numbers going off.
Oh, me too.
I'm going to try it for more rating later, probably.
Have you got Beowulf?
Yeah, I got Heretic right before 230, or during 230, and then Beo in 230.
Oh wow, you're doing well. If you've got 3 tier 10 classes at 230, you're doing quite well.
Pretty good.
If I stop switching between specs, I can get a 4th.
Yeah. Oh, you're doing endless, though, aren't you? And you've got 2 Band of Gods.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That'll help you get those Orns back pretty quickly. Yeah. Awesome. So yeah, that stuff looks cool. And like I said, he teased another little image, and I've put it there for you guys to look at. So there's a couple of different sprites, or not sprites, I guess, like buildings looking things there, because one of them, it looks like the blacksmith stump is next to it, but it's got a little hedge as well. And then one is like a witch with a cauldron. So maybe this isn't everything that's coming in the teaser, or maybe this is different looks for current buildings, or
new decoration.
Maybe new decorations. Yeah, I don't know, but I like town building, so that's going to be awesome. If there's more stuff coming that we can play around with at home, so big thumbs up.
Love it.
I'm not sure if the great man is still watching, listening, whatever, but keep it coming, mate. Big deal. So that's putting us pretty close to 2 hours. What do we reckon, boys?
Dangy, on you, my friend. Any other stuff to talk about, or?
You got to be careful asking me if I've got stuff to talk about, Shabbash. You know that I love to chat.
I have to get another 10 minutes.
Always.
Yeah.
Did either of you guys have a build of the week?
So, kind of, but not one that I have got set up ready to go. But if you've got have you got a build sitting there that we could run through, mate?
I put it in coordination.
All right. Is it a video
the
or
realms I have?
Have you got a video of it, or is it just the screenshots?
I just have the screenshots.
That's all right. You could probably still, if you feel comfortable talking to it, run through it.
Yeah, I can.
Yeah, give me.
I'm not sure. Is it easy for you to swap scenes and cut things in Shab? Or?
Oh yeah, give me 2 seconds and should be able to have a look.
Yeah, that's fine. So there's while Shab's doing that, I'll just fill the airwaves. Hey, there's always topics to talk about, and we've got a heap of stuff sitting there. Like one of the regular things that we want to do that Flux has just touched on is the builds or items that have us interested, and whether it happens to be, I know we said build of the week, we don't do this weekly currently, so whatever frequency we do the podcast, maybe it's something we bring up. And another one is the recent suggestions, so they are things that we want to do relatively regularly, but we're also conscious that this is a long form podcast in its current state, so we're going to try and keep it to a reasonable listening length. So might not always have time to get through all of that sort of stuff. And there's a couple of topics sitting there that wouldn't mind going through. One of them's probably a bit of a shorter one if you boys have time, which is the realm shifter stuff. But yeah, otherwise we'll try and keep this, if we can, not 3 hours each in every instance, because that's probably a bit of a long list.
It helps if you're not. It helps if you're actually here for most of the podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No mic problems so far, at least.
Oh yeah, has it been buzzing? Has there been mic problems? No.
Oh, we haven't seen anything, so that's positive.
That's good.
Right, some bad news. I can't get my phone on screen.
Okay. Yeah.
All right.
So,
No,
I mean, looking at it, Flux, this is your Realm Shifter sequencer build, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
So
it is.
Why don't you quickly talk us through your gear? Really sorry I can't get this on the screen, but
It's alright. So I have just my Old Northern Crown, Fey Yeti coat, and Master Forged Realm boots, which I just run mostly on everything Realm.
and the Northern Crown, the Fey Yeti coat, are they normal quality?
Yeah, those are both common quality.
For now.
For now, yeah.
Yeah.
You'll get them soon.
Then I have a Famed Arisen Ring and a Superior Arisen Ring just to boost that magic as much as I can.
Yeah.
Those are actually still the two highest that I have. A 124 and a 113. Then I have two, I don't know how to say what it is, but two of the tier 8 light boss.
The Self-Lords.
Scepters. Yeah.
The Self-Scepters, yeah.
And then one of them is Demon Forged, the other is only Master Forged. Each with here, I'm gonna pull it up on my phone so I can see it better.
Yeah, you've got Morganized in one, and Pale Eyes in the other one.
Yeah, I got 4 Pale Eyes in the one, 4 Morganized in the other, and then I believe an Ornate Mammon Jewel in both of them.
Yeah.
And for skills, I mostly just had all the face skills.
Right.
And then added a little Realm Strikes, a couple other things just to get my mana back up there and health back up there. Because Realm does have where when you get a crit, you heal 10 to 50% of your health back. So that is very nice to use the crit with the Realm.
Yep. Yeah, right. What's your use case for this? Are you using it for gauntlets mainly, or?
I was using it a lot for hard gauntlets that day. Haven't done much with it since then.
Yep.
This is about 40,000 experience ago.
Yeah, okay. It's it's an interesting build. I'd never have thought of using magic on Realm Shifter, if I'm honest. So that's
I think I'm gonna go try it with Cerus now.
Yeah, well, you could.
Two different options.
Really interesting. I wonder how it'd go in PvP if you were versing somebody who thought that you were going to use physical. So if you were, I don't know, against a Gilgamesh and they had no resistance at all, how would it fare?
I did not try it in Arena at all because I didn't quite have the rings that I wanted or the magic that I wanted to get.
Yeah.
I think the overall magic was only 2,000 after the rings.
Yeah.
That screenshot's not quite right with the magic, but...
Yeah.
Room to grow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting build, man. Really interesting build. It's so it's taken a little bit of a what would you say? You've leaned on Shabbash's build a little bit to get your start with the sequencer using the same weapons. And I agree that word is impossible to pronounce, and I don't believe that Shabbash knows how to do it properly. He's making it up. He's made up that word. That
you just have to sound as if you know what you're talking about.
Yeah, just the confidence sells it.
I thought you'd be good at that, Dangy.
Not just making up shit. Yeah, I could do that a little bit.
So I actually came up with, or decided to build it just because I think it was Sheb or someone in the main Discord was like, oh, you can't do realm magic. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go do it now.
Yeah, cool.
So then I asked Shabbash what to put in it.
It's interesting because I wonder whether you need to necessarily use sequencer as well, because there is that weapon. Is it Massamoon?
Oh, I hate that weapon.
It's got magic on it though, right? Like
it does, but for me it's just underpowered. It needs a boost, especially the tier 6 version from the Ronin boss.
Yeah,
so bad.
Mm-hmm.
It's always been the case that split stat weapons are much lower than their equivalent tier weapons. Yeah,
a lot of the tier 2 has magic, like the random weapons.
Yeah, okay. It's interesting, man. I wouldn't have thought to use magic on Realm Shifter. So neat build. I'd love to see some video content on it. So you'll have to set up that YouTube channel and link us all to the videos that you start making on it.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
Fun fact from Major. Realm has less magic than the tier 1 mage class. Got to work that out there.
All right, that's crazy.
Would be better going tier 1 mage.
Yeah. It's just interesting though, because those sort of builds where you catch somebody off guard by doing something that they don't expect that you're going to do. And with Realm Shifter, people are either expecting you, I think the real common ones are just you're going to straight up do a Realm Charmer build where you might have a bit of defense and a lot of offense. You could do Realm Cataphract is actually pretty common in PvP, and that just makes them harder to kill. And then when you don't really want to chip damage a Realm Shifter, because once you get them under half health, they become so much more annoying to deal with.
Yeah.
And then the other one is just Swashbuckler. So that's what people sort of expect. And if it isn't going to be one of those, and I think Gobi put it in the chat earlier, is they could use Gunner against you, right? If somebody uses Gunner because they expect you to use a physical attack, you might actually catch them off guard pretty well.
Great point.
So interesting.
I would 100% use Gunner against any Realm Shifter that I see if I had to.
Yeah. Yeah. Real interesting, man. Good one.
All right.
I like it.
I'm quite excited. Dangy, maybe in future versions of this, we can delve more into some PvP stuff, because we've not really talked too much about it, but maybe with the right person on board, we can delve a bit more.
Yeah. Maybe we need to like set up shorter form ones where we go through specific topics rather than the long form where we carry it all. Do you have an OnlyFans? Or is it no Patreon? That's what it's called, isn't it? You don't have an OnlyFans, do you?
Maybe.
Yeah, really cool. And I agree. I think like talking the PvP stuff is really, really interesting. We need to get some of the top dogs on here to talk us through their unique builds. I will continue to beg Tyres to come on someday and talk us through his unique perspective on how to approach builds sometime. But yeah, nice work, man. So what do we want to do here, fellas? We could talk through a couple more things. It's also, for me, it's midnight, so I'm probably keen to wrap relatively soon.
Yeah, I have to get heading out in a few.
Yep.
Let's sack this.
Yep, no worries. So before we do, Flux, do you have anything that you wanna plug, mate? Is there a YouTube or a Twitch, or is there anything that you'd like to talk about?
I have both my YouTube and Twitch. Both Flux. My Twitch is a little long, so I just said here in chat. It's Flux TV Live because Flux was taken, Flux TV was taken,
right? Yeah.
And I couldn't think of anything else. I'm gonna go probably later this week work on some Orna content for YouTube, at least.
Awesome.
Love it.
Gotta get my Kingdom Endless Guide.
Yeah, cool, man. Endless Guide. That's something that I think at some point more people would love more endless perspectives. I know that Shabbash has done a few endless videos and he's a god at them, Mr. 300 himself. So, yeah, that's a question that always comes up. Pass on those tips. What was yours, sorry?
161 so far.
It'll keep improving, man. It's all about that rhythm. I think you and I have talked about this through message a little bit, but it's all about that rhythm, and you will learn the enemies, and that codex thing at the top is just a godsend for endless now.
Yeah.
But you'll only get stronger. You'll only find it easier as you learn more and more. So, yeah, that's awesome that you're playing around with endless. Probably pretty early, to be honest, in Tier 10. I reckon a lot of people start to play around with it once they hit that wall, which is somewhere after 230, usually around 231, 232. They start to really slow down in the leveling and they're not sure how to keep going. And they either turn to endless because the community tells them to, or they just become monsters hitting hard boss.
Yeah. You actually were the one that taught me how to endless at first as Realm.
Yeah, cool. Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. I like to hear that. We'll always try and help out where we can.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Cool, man. Well, maybe give Shabbash your info so that he can link it in what will be the YouTube video for this. And there is that reminder. This does come to YouTube and it is now on other platforms. What are the other platforms that it's on, Shabbash?
It's definitely on Spotify. I think it might be on Google Podcast by now. I tried to get it on iTunes. I'm not 100% sure if I managed to do that. You can actually also listen direct from the Orna Legends website.
Cool.
But it's definitely on Spotify for sure.
Awesome. So, yeah, go like, follow, subscribe to all the things that Shabbash has going on, because this man puts in a lot of effort and helps keep this thing chugging along. But it's been awesome. Cheers heaps, guys, for another fantastic episode. I reckon you're in the top 2 guests we've had, Flux. Easy.
Thank you.
couldn't have said it better himself. Dangy. Flux, thanks for coming on. Dangy, been a pleasure. Can't wait till the next one. I'm sure it might not be too far away.
Yeah, that's it. Odie just keeps releasing the content, man. I'm convinced that in 2 days' time he's going to drop something else that we have to talk about. So we'll talk to everyone soon.
Yeah, you'll have to readorn your halberd again.
I can't.
All right,
awesome.
folks. Thanks everyone who tuned in live. It's been awesome.
Yeah.
And we'll see you in the next one.
Thanks heaps all. Bye.